Okay, this is a Unit 11 review video series. This is video 1. Let's jump right into it. So, video 1, we're talking about maximizing a marginal utility. And this will tell us what the quantity of goods we'll consume when we have multiple options. Normally, we only look at 2, but you can look at 4, 6, 8. But for us, we only need to look at 2. Right? And the way that we do this, we have to convert our marginal utility to figure out what our scarcity is. Why can't we just have it all? The reason is because we have a budget, right? So we have a limitation on money. So we want the most utility per dollar we spend, so we get the most utility for our budget. That's the idea. So the first step you have to take is you have to determine the marginal utility per dollar, which is simply marginal utility divided by price. And this gives you for every dollar how many utils you get out of it. We call it the utes for your loots, right? And so once you find this, convert everything to this, then you can make a decision that is makes a lot more sense, and that is very clear, right? And you can actually choose how much of each product to buy or consume based on how much additional utility it's going to give you. So let's jump in and try to calculate these. So how do I find it? Well, I have my marginal utility here, 32. I know my price for X is $4. So it's going to be 32 divided by 4, which is 8. And then I got 27 divided by 4, which is 7. 26 divided by 4, which is 6. 20 divided by 4, which is 5. And then 16 divided by 4, which is 4, right? And so that gives me for the first consumption of that product, right, to consume the first one, I'm going to get 8 utils per dollar. And for the second one, 7 utils per dollar, 6, 5, 4, right? And we see the law of diminishing returns. As I consume more, I get less additional utility out of it. Jump over here to product Y, price is different. So I have to find the utes for the loots with a price of 2. So I take 24 divided by 2. So my utes for the loots is 12. And then 20 divided by 2, which is 10. And then 16 divided by 2, which is 8. And then 12 divided by 2, which is 6. And then 8 divided by 2, which is 4. Okay. So now what do? Now I have to determine what combination I will consume if I have a limited budget of just $20. And that's going to be necessary for every one of these. You're going to have a budget, you're going to have the price of the 2 goods in order to make your choice, right? So what do? Well, I know the profit maximizing choice, right? I will always maximize where the marginal utility per dollar of my 2 products are equal. So I just try to find my matchy, and you can go through this and determine why, but you're always going to end up consuming at a point where marginal utility per dollar of X is equal to marginal utility per dollar of Y. So if I find my matchy, and then I simply ask, do I have enough money for this? So I like to start at the bottom because normally it's not going to be right at the top. Sometimes it is, but I start at the bottom, you start from the top, doesn't matter. Right? And so my first matchy is 5 and 5 because at that level, I'm getting 4 utils per dollar for each of these, right? So the question is, do I have enough money to consume 5 of each of these? So 5 of X, they're $4 each. 5 times 4 is 20. 5 of Y, they're $2 each. That's 10. So 20 plus 10, that's $30. Do I have enough money? No, I only have 20 bucks. So the answer is no. I need to find my next matchy. So next up is, I can't do 5 because there's no 5 over here, but 6. 6 is on there. So 6 is going to be 4 and 3. That's my next matchy right here and right here. So I ask, can I afford this? So for 3 of product X, it's going to cost $4 each. That's $12, right? And then for 4 of product Y at $2 each, that's $8. 12 plus 8 is 20. I can afford it. I am out of money, right? I'll consume until I'm out of money. I'm out of money. I maximize my utility. Now, a couple other questions they could ask based on this. So my answer would be I would consume 3 of X and 4 of Y. Another question they could ask is they could say, hey, what is your total utility you get out of this choice? And so you'll have to say, okay, total utility is here, right? My marginal utility, actually this is all marginal utility, so it's not telling me total, but I can add these together to get total. So 32 plus 28 would be 60. 60 plus 24 is 84. So 84 is the total utility I will get out of X. And then total utility out of Y will be all of these combined. So 24 plus 20 is 44. 44 plus 16 is 60. 60 plus 12 is 72. And I add those together, and that will give me my total utility, which is like 156, I believe. right? So that's one question they could ask. They could also ask this question a very different way. You could say, let's say that your marginal utility per dollar is 8 for X and 4 for Y. Should you consume more or should you consume less? And so if it's 8 and 4, they're very disparate. They're very far apart, right? So how do I consume so that these two numbers become more equal? Because remember, I want to consume where marginal utility per dollar of X is equal to marginal utility per dollar of Y. So I need to put myself in this situation. So if I'm getting 8 utils per dollar and I want that utils per dollar number to be lower, what should I do? Well, if I want it to be lower, then I need to consume more, right? So for X, I should consume more if my current utes per lutes is 8. I should consume more, right? And this should make logical sense because when I consume more, I get less additional utility per dollar, right? Because of the law of diminishing returns. If currently my utes per lutes for Y are 4, and I want it to be closer to 8, I want it to increase, then I need to consume less, as we can see here. I consume less, which will increase that utility per dollar because I'm consuming fewer, so I get more additional utility for that unit. We'll increase that number and get us closer to those two being equal. So that's another way that question can be asked. All right, so that's our first video. I hope that helped. This is a pretty big concept on this. You're going to have about 5 or 6 questions. Make sure that you know how to do it and practice it on the web review.